morning and welcome to Impact. What's the date today? It's getting close to November the 11th, which is Remembrance Day. It's November 6th today. It is winter. That just sort of happened. And the calendar flips into November and the snow falls. Just very predictable that way. My name is Russell Thomas, and I'm pleased to be joined this morning by Jill Edwards. Jill is the business manager for King's Kids Promotions and, by extension, 91.1 The Bridge. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning.
And thank you for braving the microphone. I know
welcome.
You love doing this a lot.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think they say one of the greatest fears is talking on the radio. I don't understand that, but do you feel that a little?
Yes, I do.
Well,
Very much. That's why I don't do it.
I especially appreciate you're here this morning. I didn't have anybody lined up for this morning, and I know that right now is the most important 2 weeks in the history of the radio station in many different ways. All of the supporters and through your Facebook channels and your social media channels, we found out that there was a real need to raise some money. Mm-hmm. Talk about the why, because the context of why are we having this conversation and why is now really important?
Well, 91.1 The Bridge has been struggling financially for a while, particularly since the wildfire. Just before the wildfire, we had done the Power Up campaign and we had raised money to increase our power, and things went fairly well. However, in that length of time, there was some extra expenses we weren't anticipating. The exchange rate went high, and so some of the costs were higher than we anticipated. And so we had a little bit of deficit there that we had to make good. And then, of course, a month after we went live at 40,000 watts, the wildfire hit, and we were off the air for 6 weeks, which devastated our financial stability. And then coming back, of course, everybody's struggling, and the economy tanked, and lots of things. So it's been particularly hard. Rick and I have been doing this, King's Kids in particular, for 27 years, but radio for probably about 20 of those years, and here in Fort McMurray for 11. And we're getting to the stage where we're getting tired. We work, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We're like Max Milk, we're always open. And so we started looking and talking about what does the future hold. We don't have family who are extremely interested in taking over for us, and so we started looking at options. And so Rick approached United Christian Broadcasters, who have a network of stations across Canada, mostly in Ontario, but they are expanding to the west now, and chatted with them, and they expressed an interest in coming and working alongside us and eventually taking over the station. And so that was 2 years ago. And so over that 2 years, we've been going through steps and trying to get the process started. Of course, there's always permissions that have to be received from the CRA and the CRTC and all kinds of government bodies, and so it takes a long time. And so the final permission came through about the middle of August this year, and we were all excited thinking, yay, this is going to go on September 1st. We're going to, be okay. And then UCB kind of hit the brakes and said, oh no, we have to raise a certain amount of money in order to upgrade the equipment so that they can network efficiently and all those things. And of course, they use different softwares than we use, so everything has to be compatible. And so we have to raise this money. So the total was $174,200. And we have been sending out mailings and sort of talking about it gently, in that this had to happen. But it was coming to the place where this could take forever. And we are not in a position to continue the radio station forever. And so Rick kind of said to them, look, this has to happen by December 31st or we're going to shut the station. We just can't do this any longer. And so we then regrouped and did a new mailing and the Facebook post and whatever, and we're trying to get across the urgency of this matter to the community so that we can raise the funds and UCB can come in and take over the station. And there will still be Christian radio in Fort McMurray.
So you used a big number, and I'm staring at your paper, $174,200. You must have raised some money because the number that we saw on social media was, I believe, $80,000.
That's correct. So some money was pledged by local businesses and some of the supporters of the station. And so we had raised $90,000 roughly of what we needed, and we were asking for the additional 80. And I'm not even sure what day the Facebook hit, on the 30th? Close to that,
Steph
anyway.
is saying it's about the 30th. She's saying it very quietly.
Oh, Thursday,
over
sorry. Okay, so since Thursday, we have actually almost raised half of that. So we now only have $49,338 to go. So we're doing great. We just, I had someone the other day in that said, there's 60,000 people in Fort McMurray, and if everybody just gave $1, we could do it. And that's true. And some people think, I don't have a lot of money, I can't help. Well, even $5 puts us $5 closer.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a whole lot of money to be able to help. We had a person call us and say, financially, they weren't able to help, but could they do a bottle drive? We said, of course. And so we wrote a letter for them saying that they are doing this on our behalf and the funds are going towards this merger. And so I think, big event is Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. And so, there's lots of ways that people can help.
You told a story about a little girl.
Yes, my granddaughter.
Tell that story.
So my granddaughter was driving to school with her mom this morning. She's 6.
6 years old.
And she heard on the radio that we needed $50,000 to save the radio station. And she looked at her mom and she said, I wish I had $50,000. I'd give it. And so, it just touched my heart again that they get it and they want it. And everybody loves listening to the station. I just don't think they understand the urgency of the situation. And the reality is, if this merger doesn't happen, the station will close on December 31st.
And you talked about the commitment that you and the team have made over many years, and that it really is truly a 7-day-a-week venture. It's not something, you can't shut it off.
No.
And that's hard for most people to understand.
Yes.
And you're not just saying, I lived the radio station life and as a single father, and woo!
It's tough.
Hard to do it.
Yes.
So tell me about UCB, United Christian Broadcasters, a little bit. And they've been here. You've met them. And what's your impression?
I think they're wonderful people. They definitely have a heart for God and for getting the message out. I don't think there will be immediate changes to the station when they come in, but there will be some subtle changes over the time, but nothing that anybody's going to be upset about, for sure. I think I've listened to their stations in Ontario. They're very enjoyable. I like listening. That's typically what I do listen to when I go home, so for a visit. And so I don't think people will notice a huge difference. The staff will be staying on for a while anyway. And I mean, nobody can talk about, too far down the road. We don't know what's going to happen, but they've met all the staff. They're impressed with the staff. And so I think, things will just kind of go on somewhat as they are. Some of the initiatives may not be run sort of by the radio station anymore. For example, the skating, that will be a King's Kids initiative. So it is going to continue. It's just King's Kids is running it, not 91.1 The Bridge.
Yeah, we should underline the fact that King's Kids is a charity that has been behind and running the radio station for all of these years.
Correct.
And presumably King's Kids is going to emerge a little bit and be heard more often.
Yes.
Because of this change.
Yes.
Yeah.
And And our goal, our board has already met several times, and we've done some strategic planning for the future. So we kind of have an idea of where we want to go in the future with King's Kids. And one of those things will be the recording studio. Another thing, when King's Kids initially started, a lot of what we did was short-term missions for youth. And we took them on overseas missions for anywhere from a week to 20 days, depending on where we were going and when. And so we would like to get back into missions. But our heart now is more on family missions. So we want to pick places where younger parents can come with their children and introduce their children to missions, but it be a safe environment and safe for them as well, because mom and dad are there, so they can be with them at all the time too. So the first trip of that nature happened last February, and we had 12 people go, and I believe
It was Cabo San Lucas, wasn't it?
it was, and there was 4 or 5 youth that went, or young people that went with their parents on that trip.
Awesome.
So
Our guest this morning is Jill Edwards. Jill is the business manager for King's Kids Promotions Outreach Ministries, the owners and operators currently of 91.1 The Bridge. Now, you've probably seen on social media that there is a call for help because of the desired transition that wants to happen to take the radio station from the ownership of King's Kids to United Christian Broadcasters. And in order to do that, there is some funding that's required at the moment. As I see a little slip of paper in front of Jill, we are $49,338 away from successfully being able to do that. I have to be honest, when I came in this morning, I thought there was going to be not a lot of hope. I don't know why. I felt like that gap was really, really large. But there's a lot of good news. Some amazing things have happened in a short amount of time. We're going to talk more about that when we come back with Impact. It is a team effort of United Way, Fuse Social, Shaw Spotlight, Your McMurray Magazine, and 91.1 The Bridge. Welcome back to the show, talking with Jill Edwards, business manager for 91.1 The Bridge this morning, about the call out for help, that money needs to be raised between now and November the 15th in order to ensure that the radio station gets handed off, that the baton gets passed to United Christian Broadcasters successfully. And I have to be honest, I thought it was a huge number, and it was a huge number, and that it was going to be tough. But then I came in this morning, and I guess the response has been unbelievable. And the question was asked while we were on the break, well, how can people donate? What's the mechanics there?
So right now, UCB is really just looking for pledges. So they want you to pledge that you will donate.
Okay.
And that's what they want by the 15th of November. Then they want the funds collected by December the 1st. And they will take over the reins December the 1st and start moving forward. And what they've advised us is initially the first thing purchased will be the equipment needed to network properly so that we can get some relief staff-wise here. So for those of you who don't know, we have 4 staff who work full-time at the station. And with normally a station of this size would have 12 employees. So as you can imagine, our staff carry a lot of weight and wear a lot of hats. And so that relief will go a long way to relieving pressure on the staff and making the transition a little easier. Yeah. So what you can do is you can go to ucbcanada.com. And there's a button on their page that says Ways to Give. And then it will bring up a little header that says something about saving Christian radio in Fort McMurray. You click on that, and it gives you the reasons why. And down at the bottom, there's a pledge button. You push that, and there's a little form to fill out. You fill it with your information and the amount of your pledge, and then they will then contact you after the 15th if all the money is raised.
Yeah.
And get your credit card info or whatever means you want to pay by, and make that process start at that time.
It's funny, you've answered a question that was on my mind. Well, wait a minute. If I donate $1,000 and it doesn't happen,
Then we would have to return those funds.
no, but you've answered it. It's a pledge that they're looking
Right
for. So
now.
you're comfortable to pledge.
We have had some people, so we had a young girl in last week, and she said, like, I just want to give, because if I don't do it, I'll forget. And so she made her donation, and so if this doesn't go through, then any money provided to King's Kids or UCB will be returned to the donors, because it's a designated gift. And so if that designation isn't going to happen, we are obligated to return the funds.
But it's going to happen. I feel it in my heart.
I believe you.
Yeah, no, I really do. I didn't when I first came in, but I do now, looking at the number in front of you. One of the projects that's happening right now that is going to help bridge the gap that remains is the Love It, Then List It project. Tell me a little bit about that.
So we had a donor come to Rick, who they wanted to talk to him about an idea they had to make some money. And so they were interested in purchasing this house, and they wanted us to take the lead on renovating the house, and then they're going to resell it, and any of the profits that are made when they resell it are going to be donated to King's Kids and UCB for this transfer. And so we took the project on, and Rick is up at the house today leading all the volunteers. So we've had real estate people and electricians, and Dunvegan Gardens is building a fence, and the students from Composite High School, I believe it's the woodworking program, are at the house today building a new deck. And so just lots of people come forward. We have a designer that's come forward, and all these people are donating their time and services to do this work. We've had donations of equipment that was needed. We've had donations of electrical supplies so they could rewire the house. I know they're looking for finishing carpenters now, and I believe they're still looking for donors for like drywall and things like that. But it's a happening place. I was over there Saturday afternoon. I took some chili over to feed the workers, and I dropped some more chili off today for the next crew of workers. And so that's another way someone can help if they want to. Like, I couldn't put up a piece of drywall if my life depended on it, but I can cook. So I just made lunch for them and just dropped it off and go pick up my stuff later. So
It sure illustrates, though, when people want to help,
yes,
that they can find very innovative ways to do it. I know that the couple that is doing this wishes to remain anonymous. At least I believe they do.
Yes.
And but our hearts go out to them, and very thankful for this incredible gesture.
Yes.
And it's innovative and fun, and there's so many benefits. I'm thinking of all the people that are there working and how they get to engage with one another in a common cause. What a beautiful thing.
it is. It's a lot of fun. And we actually had one electrician who actually took a week off this week to be at the house to do the electrical work. So, I mean, just so generous, and it's just amazing. I just can't believe it.
I
It's
should
wonderful.
probably ask, in case there's somebody listening who specifically says, oh man, I'd love to be helping with that.
Yeah.
What's the best way to get in touch with that project?
Either call the station, 780-791-5911, and ask for Steph, or you can email info@911thebridge.com.
Yeah, so if something sparks in your brain and your heart that you can help with this flipping of a house, how awesome is that? Now, there's a logistical question. How quickly can they flip it? Like, is this strictly a part of this November 15th thing? Or?
No, what the UCB has taken into account that this is happening, and we kind of have estimated what we feel the profits may be. And so that's included in the total that we have raised so far.
Okay.
My understanding is they want to have it done by the end of December and hopefully flipped early January, but, all things, I think it's a a possibility. It seems overwhelming at the moment, but every time I go over there, there's so much more done, and so
Yeah.
it is happening quickly, and I think it is possible. So
When you put it out to the universe provides.
that's correct.
So we are talking with Jill today. Jill Edwards is the business manager with 91.1 The Bridge and King's Kids Promotions Outreach Ministries, the charity behind the radio station. And we're talking about the need to raise funds between now and November the 15th, at least get the pledges, people that are committed to wanting to see this radio station continue under new ownership through United Christian Broadcasters. And it's going really well. Do you have any sense, Jill, the amount that you've raised, how many people are behind those numbers? Like, are you getting like is it dozens? Is it hundreds?
I would say we're probably about 20 to 24 individuals.
So there's significant donations, is what you're saying.
Yes, there are.
Wow.
I would have to be honest. I looked Friday morning, I think, and it was at 60,000, and I was shocked then. But to look at it this morning, I'm going, wow, this just hasn't slowed down, and I'm so encouraged, and it's just wonderful to see, you know. We've been here for a long time and fighting this for a long time, so this is encouraging for us, and I really do think that UCB is going to be good for the community, and they actually told Rick that they were amazed at the amount of community work that we do as a radio station, and have asked us to sort of help them learn that and keep that going. So that's encouraging to me, because that was one thing I was concerned about.
Yeah.
That it would just become another radio station, and those social aspects, those initiatives that we have would lose ground.
There's a lot to be said for leadership, and Rick was able to bring the CEO, James Hunt, to visit with me when he was in town last time, and we had a very deep, honest conversation. And yeah, I was impressed and very optimistic. So we're talking today with Jill Edwards, a business manager of 91.1 The Bridge. We're going to take a break and come back with more right after this. Welcome back to the show. It is November the 6th, and we're shooting for a deadline right now of November the 15th to raise. Right now, it's sitting at about $50,000 that we need to raise to make sure that 91.1 The Bridge continues on the air in perpetuity, or at least for the foreseeable future, under the leadership of UCB. And Jill, you must feel very good about having raised as much as you have, considering you just recently did a share-a-thon.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that was very hard for us is we have sent out letters, and we did recently in early October, do the share-a-thon, and we didn't want to go back to our donors and supporters again and ask for more money, but we have no choice. The money had to be raised here in Fort McMurray, and that's just the way UCB does business, and it makes sense. You know, they want to know that the community they're going into supports them. But it seemed like a pretty lofty goal, and I was a little nervous, but I am very encouraged, and I think this just speaks again to the community, and their heart is to have this station in the community.
I want to review a couple of the ways that people can help. Now, first of all is either making a direct donation or pledging a donation, and there is a difference there.
Yes.
To UCB, and it's ucbcanada.com.
Yes.
Click on the Donate Now button, and it'll take you to a drive that is very specifically labeled for Fort McMurray. And you can either make a direct donation and or make a pledge. And that's pretty good. That makes me happy, so that if you want to make sure the project is going to go forward, and so they would then contact you if it's just a pledge.
Correct.
Once everything looks like it's going to go ahead.
Yes.
So that's one way.
Yes.
And a lot of people are doing that. So again, ucbcanada.com is the website to go to for that. But you know what? We've heard great stories. I mean, the story of the person that said, I don't have the money, but can I do a bottle drive?
Exactly.
What a wonderful thing.
And there was a couple of people involved through the recording studio were involved in a talent show on the weekend at the Anglican Church. And originally that talent show was to raise money for the church's new roof. And by the time the talent show got here, they had already raised the money. So they then said the money that they took up in their offering at the talent show was going to be donated to King's Kids for this merger. And so that was about $400 that came in that was unexpected, and a different way to raise money. Like I wouldn't have thought of that. So,
Yeah, you can be creative. If your heart
totally.
is there, just think of something fun that you can do, and every little bit is going to help. The other project that is doing an amazing thing is the Love It, Then List It project, where there is a house being renovated right now at this very second.
Yes.
And you got students there from Composite High School, I think you said building a deck.
Yes.
Which is really great. Maybe there's something, some way that you can plug into that project, enhance the value of the flip. I sound like a TV show host here.
There you
The value
go.
of the flip. And while you guys have sort of earmarked what you think you can make from the flip, everything that anybody adds to that could increase the value of
That's
that flip.
correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have I missed anything? Those sound like the three key things.
I think those are the basic things. I mean, if someone does want to give immediately, again, they can contact us here at the station, and we can take their pledge or their donation. And if the merger, for some chance, doesn't go through, all the money will be returned.
And I hate to point it out, but I'm going to anyway, because if you make a donation, you're going to get a tax benefit from
That's
it.
correct. You
And people
are.
often forget about that. You
Yes.
get that tax receipt, and you're going to get a portion of that back when you get your income tax return.
That's correct.
In the new year. So this is a perfect time of year to do this kind of a project. Again, you can donate directly to ucbcanada.com. You can, if you want to plug into the Flipping of the House project called the Love It, Then List It project, you can phone the radio station here and talk to Steph, 791-5911. 780-791-5911. I don't know how I remember all this stuff. Jill, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for braving coming on the radio.
Thank you.
You actually are incredibly articulate. I don't know why you're scared. You should have your own show.
No, thanks. I don't need another hat.
Jill Edwards is the business manager here at 91.1 The Bridge and King's Kids Promotions Outreach Ministries, the charity currently behind 91.1 and currently trying to make a transition to pass the radio station along to UCB Canada. This has been Impact. It is a team effort of United Way, Fuse Social, Shaw Spotlight, YMM McMurray Magazine, and 91.1 The Bridge.